Andy Roddick is the co-founder of Viewfi, the founder of the Andy Roddick Foundation, and the world's former #1 men's tennis player, the one and only Andy Roddick. Thanks a lot for being here.
Yeah, thank you. Are you getting some ride? I know you've just been rifling through interviews. You doing all right?
I have not slept in a month, but it has been awesome, and it is worth the lack of REM cycles to sit down with you, man, for sure. So we're grateful for a few minutes of your time. Your panel here at South by was called Serving Innovation.
Yeah.
Love the pun. What was it all about?
Yeah, it wasn't my idea on the name. It was basically a story of how we started Viewfi, which is a diagnostic tool that you can use through your phone, developed by best-in-class surgeons. My doctor for our Davis Cup team for my entire career, someone I trusted, one of the best surgeons on earth, Josh Dines. We were finding the bottom of a bottle of wine during COVID on a Zoom with 10 other people, like we all experienced. And I asked the question, what in your given fields, and everyone did something different, will be expedited by this? And Josh launched into some story about how he was expected to diagnose orthopedic sports injuries through FaceTime. And he goes, I spend my entire day telling 45-year-olds to back up, move forward, raise this arm, and none of it really worked. And so I called him the next day and I said, is anyone doing this? He goes, no. I go, will someone? He goes, absolutely. I said, what's missing? And he goes, connectivity between the medical expertise and the software side. I happen to know another successful entrepreneur named Michael Williamson, who's now our Viewfi CEO. Fast forward any number of years, our experiment is available through Transcarent, through Horizon Blue Cross, diagnostic tool for musculoskeletal injuries, 500 peer-reviewed tests that you can go through if your arm hurts through your phone. We'll have you back up. It'll green light you when you're in the right spot, so Josh doesn't have to yell at you. Shoulder hurts, series of exercises that are made by Josh Dines, Alex Vaccaro for the back, best-in-class surgeons from all over the country. Duke, Mayo, Rothman, HSS. And we'll either tell you what's wrong or what the right first step is for you.
I mean, when you were the world's #1 player, U.S. Open champ, and in the height of your career, undoubtedly, and I've heard you say this before, you had access to some of the world's leading care.
Yeah.
For the rest of us on the outside, talk us through just how good that care is for professional athletes, and how did that inspire you to try and bring more of that to the masses in terms of accessibility?
Yeah, so the biggest thing is geography often dictates access, cost, and quality, right? How do we take that out and make sure that you can get the same access and the same programs that Josh Dines created that I could get as the #1 player in the world? I wish this would have existed when I was playing. Once a year, I would fly back to Josh at HSS in New York, which is the best orthopedic hospital in the world, for him to tell me, you're fine, you're okay. And then I would fly back to France or wherever and continue on with my day and get some treatment and some Advil. But having that peace of mind was big. We took on a big thing. We said we wanted to try to give that sort of expertise to people at scale while reducing costs. And because of my co-founders and very little to do with me, besides being able to sit here and tell you about it, we've been able to do that.
What more needs to be done to better democratize the space of sports medicine, do you think?
Access. I mean, we need best in class without someone having to give up 3 days of their life, right? So you would do the test, it's asynchronous. So we run you through, you describe your symptoms, it gets sent in to a sports medicine doc, and then you get it back. So you don't have to schedule an interface, you don't have to go through all these things. 500 tests, peer reviewed, 2 years we spent basically trying to have people poke holes in it so that we're credible, because it's a weird thing to tell you, we can actually diagnose a musculoskeletal injury and I'm not going to touch your rotator cuff while we're doing it.
Yeah. Are you seeing those types of injuries increase in frequency for sports athletes, or I guess for top tennis players, #1, and then even for the general public? I mean, these are serious injuries.
It always changes over time. Like the tennis players, it used to be backs and shoulders, and then as movement has become more violent and people have become better athletes, in open stance technique, you're looking at hips. I think with you see any sport, as people become better, and any athlete who tells you it was better when they played is a liar. Everything changes, everything becomes more intense, a little bit more violent, a little bit faster, therefore injuries happen. But it doesn't have to be that. It can be my former PT who traveled me for 1 million years, works in the Sam Adams warehouse in Cincinnati, and he can use it because it takes a hell of a lot of strength to be lifting stuff all day long. It doesn't just have to be for athletes, and people need to get over that thing where you can have best-in-class diagnosis, even if your job is physically laborious, but just not on TV.
What does 2025 look like for the Andy Roddick Foundation? What are you working on these
Oh,
days?
that's nice of you to ask. Andy Roddick Foundation, we serve kids out of school time, summer programming, when underserved kids are most at risk. I think the best thing that we do is add value to the kids. Our programs have won a ton of national awards for their delivery, of which I barely graduated high school. I'm not the person to be putting those curriculums together, but our staff, our teachers are great at it. One unintended consequence that I only fully understood when I was a parent is a single parent home not having to leave their job at 2:30 in the afternoon because they're worried about who their kid's around and if that person is being additive to what they're doing. I think that's the biggest benefit we can provide for the Andy Roddick Foundation, and like Viewfi, more.
Let me ask you one tennis question here. You look at a young guy like Taylor Fritz, you look at Carlos Alcaraz, these new guys in the game, especially Fritz, the American. What do you like in their game, and how have you seen the game evolved even from when you were there just a few years ago?
Everyone's like a superhero of movement, like Alcaraz, and the way he can, like, you used to be able to hit shots, be slow, and that was fine. Non-negotiable. You have to be able to move now. I love what Taylor Fritz is doing. I think he leaves no stone unturned. I hope he gets that slam and ends this streak. I really hope he does it. I was hoping he was going to do it last year at the U.S. Open. He had a hell of a run. Alcaraz is a painter. Like, you know, I say Sinner's like an algorithm. Like, you feel like he just inserts and it outputs like kind of a very, very good product. You know, Alcaraz has a paintbrush. I don't think he knows what he's doing next, but it's art when you watch it. I love the game and where it's at.
Well, I got to say, this interview was art, as our viewers will watch it as well. The one and only Andy Roddick here at South by Southwest. Thanks a lot,
Cheers.
man.
Thanks
Great
for
to
having
have
me.
you.
Appreciate you.